Wow, those waves were awesome. A weekend surfing in Hawaii was a great idea. It's a shame there's all this plastic on the beach.
And those tiny particles on us when we got out of the water were a bit disturbing too. I think I swallowed some when I wiped out. Do you think that this floating trash is the reason why the waiter at the restaurant told us that they stopped carrying locally sourced seafood due to contamination? I really wanted those fish tacos.
I'll bet this is some of the debris from the North Pacific garbage patch. I thought it was hundreds of miles away. I saw a national evening news report that estimated that there's at least 100 million tons of floating solid waste trapped in rotating ocean currents in the North Pacific. 90% of that is non-biodegradable plastics.
If the plastic doesn't biodegrade, what happens to it?
This plastic is broken down by the sun through a process called photodegradation. This results in tiny floating particles that marine scientists call nurdles. Aquatic organisms eat these pollutants, where it bioaccumulates in their tissue and makes its way into the food we eat.
There goes our surfing and our health. We'll never be able to get all this plastic out of the ocean.
We did remove the plastic from the ocean, and that is why we are here today at Insula and Exhausta. 92 years ago in 2016, the world faced devastating ocean pollution. Traditional methods of skimming floating trash were inefficient and ultimately ineffective. That's why our engineers brought the solution to the problem with a system they call GRACE, short for Gather, Remove, Accumulate, Convert, and Export. My name is Maddie, and I'm Insula and Exhausta's marine engineer. I am joined today by our structural reliability engineer, Sarah L., and our chemical process engineer, Sarah K.
Insula and Exhausta is an island city consisting of a network of 150 linked floating platforms tethered to the ocean floor. Roughly 1 city block in size, the recycled spar platforms that were once used in a deep-sea oil exploration created the building blocks for the most ambitious ocean cleanup effort ever. The platforms are connected to one another by a system of rigid structural causeways that provide the infrastructure for travel between platforms, as well as a means to distribute utilities between each platform.
Situated in the subtropical convergence zone of the North Pacific, the easternmost platforms are where the ocean cleanup begins. Two deflection booms extending 2 miles out and 10 meters deep are deployed at 45-degree angles to the platform network. Facing into the prevailing ocean currents, the booms direct the floating material toward the removal platform, where it passes through an aeration zone, where fine air bubbles introduced below the debris layer forces less buoyant material to rise and concentrate at the surface in a process called dissolved air flotation. Once gathered, the trash goes through the removal step of the process. A series of grinders reduce the size of the debris, and trash pumps transfer to top side, where the ground solids are screened from the water through a series of self-cleaning, rotating screens. Here, the accumulated debris is dried, sized, prepared, and stored for processing. Thank goodness for our mechanical and chemical engineers.
Thanks, Maddie.
Then, the debris is taken to the conversion platform, where it undergoes a dramatic transformation perfected by our chemical engineers called pyrolysis. In an oxygen-deficient atmosphere, the plastic is heated and vaporized into a plastic gas. The gases are then sent through a series of catalyst reactors where the long plastic polymers are cracked into smaller hydrocarbon chains.
Heat exchangers using desalinated water remove the heat from the gas and condense it into a mixed hydrocarbon liquid. The heated cooling water is then sent through our process boilers, where it is converted to steam for use in our city's turbine-driven pumps, generators, and compressors. Separation of the hydrocarbon liquid mixture happens in distillation columns, where it is separated into 3 main products: diesel fuel, gasoline components, and fuel gas. This gas is used as a fuel for all process heating, making the entire GRACE process self-sustaining. The sale and export of our liquid hydrocarbons is one of our city's main sources of income. While our ocean cleanup effort expanded and our economy grew, so did our population. Additional platforms were added to accommodate the needs of a growing workforce and their families. Schools, churches, recreation centers, and open spaces, along with a large retail and commercial area, which includes hotels, restaurants, and world-class entertainment complexes, were added. Utilizing the principles of transit-oriented development, multi-purpose mid-rise buildings were built above the platform system, and high-rise buildings were built below the platforms into the ocean. These submarine structures not only provide a unique living experience, but also add increased buoyancy and lateral stability to the platform system. Little did we know that our unique underwater feature would become the basis for a world-class vacation destination for ocean sports enthusiasts. A high-speed transportation system called the Dynatube is used to link Insula and Exhausta to California and Hawaii. Locally sourced vegetables are grown in our vertical farming towers year-round, and our heart-healthy source of protein is fish, grown in our self-sustaining, open-water aquaculture farms located under the platforms. To further contribute to the reduction of worldwide plastic waste, our aquaculture farms produce an abundance of fast-growing seaweed and kelp. Biochemical engineers developed a process to convert these ocean plants into the building blocks for bioplastics, a biodegradable form of plastic currently used in packaging throughout the world. The dream of a plastic-free ocean has become a reality. Our city is under constant attack. The saltwater the city is located reacts quickly with our steel structures, creating rust that destroys the very foundation of our city. That's why every square inch of exposed metal is coated with a protective epoxy. Our corrosion engineers have established an inspection and repair program to quickly identify and repair any damage to the coating. Because some coating damage can go months without being identified, sacrificial cathodic protection is used to force the rust reaction away from the steel and onto the sacrificial zinc and magnesium anodes. Insula and Exhausta has become the global model for a large-scale ocean cleanup. We now live in a world where solutions are not just dreams, but are reality.
Bioplastics have changed the face of pollution as we know it. Now let's go surfing.
That was great, girls. What measures have been taken to protect your city from natural disasters?
I'll start this one. One of our major protection systems from natural disasters would be our submarine structures. These structures go about 400 feet down into the ocean, so it would be a great protection for our citizens to go down to. Not only are there living areas, but there are also restaurants and sports complexes, so people will be able to safely enjoy the storm with the view.
Also, we have our platforms. This screen here, this glass here represents the ocean surface. So this is a platform here. We are located about 85 feet above the top of the ocean. So waves there should not be an 85-foot wave, but in case something like that were to happen, we could go below. We also are, where we are located in the Pacific Ocean, there aren't going to be as large waves from tsunamis as there would be in Hawaii or California.
This is just due to the fact that we are in 800-foot water.
In what ways will waste be different in the future?
We believe that waste will be different in the future with a little bit of help from our city. We are currently growing the seed and kelp that we reduce down to the cellulose state through fermentation. We then send them out to the bioplastic companies so they can create their product. We hope that someday there will be less plastic made out of hydrocarbons in the future and more bioplastics.
Also, the bioplastic bottles take 80 days to biodegrade, so we should not, and if it goes into the ocean and the fish eat them, there won't be as big of a problem.
Regular plastic bottles take over 400 years to photodegrade, and when they actually only end up to these nurdle forms, which are tiny little particles that the fish would eat, and then we would also get contaminated when we eat the fish.
Also, with our graze process, that helps to eliminate a humongous majority of the plastics that are in the North Pacific garbage patch, which is a really big problem. So we really want to fix that, and we've really reduced it to a very low number, but there is still some plastic there that we are still trying to get rid of.
Can you explain the access to your island again, and also if I was on a cruise ship or on a boat, would I be able to come to your island?
Well, from the mainlands of Hawaii and California, you can get to our city by the Dynatube, which is
a higher developed process of the Hyperloop that is now being developed in California. And it takes about a half an hour to get from each place. And Maddie will show you that it demonstrates. And that's how fast you would get there from that amount of force because it's magnetized and vacuum sealed. Also, if you were on a cruise ship, of course you'd be able to come to our city. We are a major tourist attraction due to the fact that our city has such an original concept design. There's no city like it currently. We also have a large number of ocean sports as well as other ocean activities. One example is our scuba center located here. You will be able to go explore the deep seas as well as some of our man-made reefs. People also are a big fan of our underwater low-rise buildings because when you eat at our restaurants, you get a beautiful view of all of the fish and the sea life from that are in the water, but you're not actually in the water, so it's kind of like you're in an aquarium.
Sounds like a great place to live. So how are you going to accommodate for increased population and growth?
Well, our population right now is about 100,000, and most of the people live all the people live in the residential area. Some of the people live on the mainland, and some of the people live in submarine structures. We do have many floors of apartments there. As our city increases, because we are using refurbished spar oil platforms, we will be able to add as many platforms as needed to our city to accommodate everyone.
So you mentioned that you're connected to California and Hawaii. So I'm guessing that you're part of the United States, but I'm not sure. And then tell me more about your governance. Who's in charge of your city? How do you carry on the function of government?
Because of where we are located, we are part of the United States. We are considered part of the state of Hawaii, even though we are very far off. Our government we are under the governor of Hawaii. So we have a democracy. We have a governor, and we just follow their rules, even though we're far off from them. As far as local government goes, we do have a city hall located here, and we also have a mayor. Just like our city and every other city, it's the same exact kind of government that would be in, say, the city of Philadelphia is where we are right now. But if it snows, the mayor will plow your streets.
What features of your city are accounting for people with disabilities?
For people with disabilities, most of the time we go from platform to platform with our structural causeways due to the fact that our city is based on transit-oriented development. However, if someone who was disabled, who was not able to use those platforms, we do have a zip car share program. And as well, for our submarine structures, we have staircases and elevators, so if someone were in a wheelchair, they would be able to easily access the elevators.
What is the primary mode of transportation from the residential area to the commercial or the employment centers on the island?
Well, our primary source of getting there would be we would walk because it was transit-oriented development, but you can also use a Copenhagen wheel bike that is electrically powered, and our zip cars because it's a share program, so you can go and drop it off, and then another person can also take it. Just a little bit more about the Copenhagen wheel bike. It is an innovative bicycle that still has two wheels, but it also has a GPS and a small motor. So if you were to personally own one of those bikes, and let's just say you took it, you biked to work every single day, it would begin to map out your route, and in the parts where you put the most stress while you're biking, it would be able to alleviate some of your muscle use with their engines.
What type of energy does your city generate? I think it's a gasification, and why did you choose that method?
So through our waste process, when our plastic goes through pyrolysis, it is turned into its gaseous form. Now, for pyrolysis, we also use water. It's boiled. So the water that we have left over, we send it to our heat exchangers, so it's turned into a gas. And that gas turns our turbines, which power the pumps and the generators and the compressors of our city. And through pyrolysis, we also, since we are taking the plastic, we are turning it back to its hydrocarbon state. We break down the hydrocarbon chains
So we can have kerosene, propane, diesel fuel, and gasoline, and we can also use those to power our city.